Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because the way I see this is the actual risks are not with the change in the environment for me or the regulation that's coming out. It's the people that are bringing the products in or the technologies in not fully understanding what its capability and capacities are. So as an example, a lot of people have this we call it shiny product syndrome, where you see a product and you think it's great and it will help you with technology, but you've not quite defined why you want to use it and how it will help. And it's interesting. Interestingly, we were having a panel discussion and ROI came up, and until you fully understand what the product can add value, where it can add value, and who you're helping, which for us is always the end customer, it's very hard to actually bring those technologies in. So I think in a market where there's so many different SaaS platforms and so many different fintech and RegTech products, it's really on the, it's not so much for the supplier. That yes, it's scary to do the vendor selection, but it's very much for the institutions that are bringing them in to fully understand what the capabilities are of them. So I think again, it's one thing that we always do, and we do it really well, I believe, is this is no longer so technology, bringing them in, and the technology risk with a stack is not so much IT anymore. It forms part of your business's strategy, board governance, and actually you have your lines of defense, everyone getting involved to fully understand and get the buy-in. And I think that's one of the areas that if you have a structure, a governance structure, you know your appetite, you know exactly where the risks lie and how to mitigate them. I think from a governance perspective, that is exactly what you need. Following again, going back to basics and just having a clear understanding of how to, from an RFC process to an RFI process, bringing in the technologies. I think that's one of the basics that I think a lot of people miss because of the whole kind of tech stack and what they're bringing to the table. Yeah. Again, the best practice is listen to your audience. There's always various stakeholders involved. I mean, again, today we're all talking about stakeholders, whether that be your shareholders, your customers, or the regulators. We all want the same thing, to help the end customer, which is the consumer. Doing it in a controlled manner, understanding what each stakeholder wants is exactly the right approach for it. So I think the balancing act is, of course, with new technologies come new risks. But at the end of the day, we're humans and we've adapted. No one would have thought. We've all promised we wouldn't keep saying AI, but it is AI, right? So there was robotic process automation, then there was AI. Now we're talking about agentic AI. AI that's going to make decisions. So. I think that for me is the right approach, to balance it by way of, remember, we are in control of the technology, we're in control of the systems, and we define what we want it to do. Yeah. I personally think if you've got risk management frameworks in place, it's an iterative process. So a lot of people kind of talk about data risk, cybersecurity, resilience, and if you've done it right, that's all within the operational risk, appetite and management framework. So I actually think risk management with new technologies in the tech world is an iterative process. So if you've got it right, you're just growing with it. And again, there is a lot of, I don't want to call it noise, but there is a lot of noise of there's new technologies, new risks. There are, but they're not necessarily new risks. They're just subcategories of risks that we should all be aware of anyway in the business. So I think, I was speaking today about how I love coming to these networking events, and especially when it comes to RegTech, FinTech, and how they can help, again, the end users. One thing that I've learned from these past experiences with individuals here is that it's no longer, especially when it comes to vendor selection and networking, it's no longer you not understanding as a supplier what your end customer wants, but actually the guys here are telling us. They're the ones telling us about the innovation, the risks, and they understand business models much better than several years ago. So I think it's really good to speak to associates and like-minded people who we're all trying to achieve the same thing. Innovate in a controlled and safe manner. So.